Welcome, hello, and thanks for joining me for our Friday demo. I hope you had a fantastic week and are ready for a fun pouring demo. I am trying something same but different, one of my favorite techniques. We're going to be doing a floating cup pour tonight, but I'm going to be using a very simple but complex painting palette. So I'll show you all the colors and what I'm thinking about, and it's very simple but yet complex. Hopefully it'll result in a very dynamic and very fun painting full of contrast. So I'm excited to give it a try. So let's get going. Welcome everybody. Hey, Carla and Monique are here. Fantastic. Hey, Elsie. And Anne has joined us, wonderful, and Nancy is here. So fantastic, everyone. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to ask them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them, and let's just dive in and see what we can create. I've got a 16 by 20 canvas ready to go, so let's get started. So I'm going to flip over here. Here we go. This is my canvas. I've got to spritz the back, but everything's prepped and ready to go. Here are my paints, and I'm working with three dark colors, three almost black colors, and then two very light colors. So this is basically a black and white painting, but I have some very interesting blacks. So these are kind of known as complex blacks, where I mixed up colors, but they're basically black colors. But hopefully it's going to result in a very cool painting with a lot of interesting colors that are going to be very subtle. But the way that the dark colors react with the white and the silver I have here might result in some very interesting things. So I'm excited to give it a try and see what we can create. Just taking the covers off. It's pretty warm here today, which is nice. It's been sunny today. It's been pretty overcast all month, like a couple months here actually. So it's nice to have some blue sky and some sun. So here we go. I've got a big cup here. This is going to be my base coat, and it does look black, but it's mixed with some black and some metallic leaf green, one of my favorite greens from Artist Loft. This is a phthalo blue from Liquitex, also mixed with black. And then we've got violet, just from Artist Loft again, again mixed with black. So these look black, but they are quite colorful blacks. And the black I'm using is the Artist Loft Soft Body black. And over here we've got two very light colors. So we've got our white. I'm going with the Folk Art Multi-Surface again that we used last week. And also some silver. And the silver I have also mixed with a little bit of metallic white just to lighten the value a little bit, just to get it a little more closer to white. So it's kind of this beautiful kind of light silvery color. Very simple formula. This is just the easy formula, 2 parts Floetrol, 1 part paint. And I mixed everything up to the number 2 consistency. So it is kind of the standard consistency. So let's go ahead and move our paints and get going. I've got my cup ready to go. We need about 13 ounces for our floating cup. So let's go ahead and get started. Just clear these off. So I enjoy doing black and white paintings. That's kind of what made me think about this, making a more complex black and some fun whites. So we have a white, which is very reactive, and some silver, which will give a little bit of interesting contrast, plus metallics can create some cool cells. So I'm going to go ahead and spritz my back here, back of my canvas. That's going to get that nice and tight. And let's go ahead and layer our cup and get going. So we've got our 3 colors, and then our white. I want to use quite a bit of white, so I'm going to be kind of layering white in between these colors quite often here. So let's go ahead and start with our white, just a small amount. And then I'm going to go to my purple, that dark purple. Gonna put a little silver in between. Then I'll go to the blue mix. Maybe a little more white. And then I'm going to use this as a color in our layered cup as well as the base coat. So some of our dark green. And I'm going to go back to my purple and blue. I want to get these colors stacked on top of each other. I think that'll create some extra interest. And go back to some silver and some white on top of that. And then probably just go in reverse order. So I'm going to go back to green, the blue, a little purple, go to my silver, and I'm getting close to my 13 ounces. More white. I think I'll end with a little purple and a little of our darks again. And a touch more of our green, and I think we've got it. There we go. So very dark and very light cup, and we'll see what that creates for us. So I'll move my paints away, pull this over, and then we'll get some base coat on there. Just spread this out. And I love working with this particular green, that metallic leaf green. It mixes with the black really well. I've used it many times, and I really like the way it looks darkened up with black. That's also known as a shade in color theory. But you can see, I'll spread this out. This is kind of what it looks like. Hopefully you can see that. It's like a really dark, rich green, and it's metallic, which I tend to like a lot. There we go. So I'm just spreading a relatively thin coat on my canvas, and then I'm going to move the excess to the center. So we have our nice puddle to drop our floating cup in. You actually need just a touch more paint here for our puddle. And that's what our paint's going to flow into this puddle of green, a blackish green. I think I'll do a little torch on that, just to pop some air bubbles. Let's move that around quickly. That looks pretty good. I'm going to grab my cup flipper tool. Grab my cup and let's go and get this on our canvas. So I'm going to just flip it over. Drop it right in our puddle, just like that. Let that hang out for a moment. I'll flip the camera right away and get a close-up view of what our puddle looks like. Okay, so let me move this back just a hair. So we're already getting some little cells happening here, and you can see the purple, you can see the green. So let's go ahead and let's see, I'll get this kind of centered better. Pull our tab, our tape tab, and see what happens. Here we go. Looking good. I'm going to give it a little gentle tug and let some more paint flow out. Just pull the cup away. And I quite like kind of the center of our cup. We've got some interesting white shapes here happening. I think there are more cells going to pop up as we start stretching and tilting. So far I think that looks pretty cool. Got a little air bubble. Pop it. Alright, so I'm liking what's happening so far. It's looking interesting and colorful. So I'm going to flip back to the top view. Get some cells here. And let's go ahead and start tilting this painting out. So I'm going to bring it down this way a bit and just expand that paint puddle. So we're getting some cells popping up in the middle. They're looking kind of cloudy and pretty, so kind of like that. We're going to lose these ones on the perimeter. That's okay. But let's go ahead and pick a corner and start tilting off of our corner and edges. I'm going to go over here, I think, first. So I'm going to bring the paint kind of back up here. Liking that. I'm going to go down to this corner next. Looking good. Next corner. And the last one. All right, so there we go. Definitely have some interesting contrast happening with our white. We've got some subtle lacing, which I like, because the white and the blacks have kind of mixed together, creating some beautiful kind of subtle colors. And I'll kind of point them out. I'm going to just wiping my hands, but I think you can see them through the screen. You can definitely pick out the green and some of the blue and the purple. Kind of did what I wanted, which is making me happy. Now I'm going to just do a little adjusting, a little continue tilting a little bit, I think. I think I want to just stretch some of this white down a little bit. It's all crammed up in that one quadrant. I want to just spread that out a little bit more, I think. Oops. I think I put a big drop on that corner. There we go. So let me turn it around. I think I like that a lot better. It kind of move that white, stretch the white out a little bit, create a little bit more interesting composition. So I quite like that. And it did mostly what I wanted. You never know exactly what's going to happen, but we do have a lot of contrast. We've got some nice, bright, kind of white areas and cells, and we've got some kind of beautiful, subtle lacing, and we can definitely see the different colors of black. We've got the purple and the blue and the green kind of spread throughout. So quite pleased actually with the way that turned out. I'm going to turn it and just see what it looks like this way. Yeah, it's kind of a fun painting. Kind of dramatic. So, and it might change a little bit. Those cells, the kind of cloudy cells might continue to grow a bit. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to zoom in. You can see some of the colors that we've created here. So here we go. This is that top corner. You can definitely see some of those greens and the blues kind of mingling together. That cell looks like a peanut to me. I don't know why, but I like you can see the purple in this kind of shape right next to the blue and green, that phthalo blue. Then we've got those kind of pretty white cells, and you can even see the color in the cells, which is very fun. Then some of that kind of subtle lacing, which I really like. That interesting kind of band of white or green, that kind of blue-green that was created. A couple cells up there. So all in all, kind of a fun painting. Kind of dramatic, which I kind of like. I might like it better this way, actually, flipped around. But it turned out pretty cool, so I'm pretty pleased with that one. So let me go ahead and I'm going to flip back. If you have any questions, please let me know. You can ask them in the comments. So, all right, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. And I like doing these kind of paintings where you kind of take an idea, a simple idea, black and white, and you kind of expand upon that, try to make it more interesting and make it a little bit more creative. So this one worked out pretty cool. So, and Carla's asking, was that Floetrol? Yeah, this is just 2 parts Floetrol, 1 part paint, just the easy formula. Number 2 consistency, the standard consistency, and of course I used the old folk art multi-surface satin. So that's my new white that I've been using a lot. It does create this cloudy effect, which is exactly what I was looking for different whites to get away from. But these cloudy effects are a little bit more contained, and I kind of like the shape of the cells. It doesn't create that kind of hazing effect that you see with kind of the new version of the Artist Loft white, which that's the real reason I'm not in love with that, unless you really want a cloud pour. This doesn't kind of do that kind of hazy white. It's more of a interesting cell shape. It creates these kind of big chunky white cells, but I quite like that. So I'm going to keep on testing the folk art white. But yeah, everything else is just the easy formula, same regular consistency, everything. So, all right. Any other questions? I know this was kind of a quick demo, but sometimes they go quick. Let's see here. Just checking and seeing if any other questions came in from earlier. Okay. Let's see here. Well, thanks so much. Andrea has a great comment, I'm hoping. It's in Spanish. I can't read Spanish, but thanks for joining us. Let's see here. Lily is asking, how did the 2 paintings from Wednesday turn out? They turned out okay. Those were from our member class, and we had our 2 cell paintings. Don't normally talk about our member stuff in the Open Friday demo. They turned out okay. Not my favorites. I liked the first one that we did better than the second one. The first one, the cells got a little bit out of control. I think I just made too many cells in there. They got a little wild. But other than that, they turned out okay. Not the greatest, though. But so I think hopefully you have better results than I did. And Cinda is asking, Andrea is asking, what is Floetrol? Floetrol is what we mix our paints with. It looks like this. You find this in the United States. It's Flood is the brand name. Floetrol is, you find this in the painting section, like the house painting section. We use it as a pouring medium, so we mix our paints with this Floetrol, 2 parts of this, 1 part paint, and then some water to get just the right consistency. And depending on what part of the world you're in, you might be able to access something like this, or something like that's called Owatrol, which is a different type of Floetrol. So it depends on where you're at. So, but that's basically our pouring medium that we're using. So good question. Thanks for the interpretation, Cinda, or translation, I should say. I appreciate that. All right. Okay, so I don't see any other questions. But, all right. Well, if there are no more questions, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thanks so much for joining me, checking out my demo. Turned out pretty fun, pretty nice. Like it. Give it a try. Play around with some different colors of black. I really like working with blacks mixed with other colors, and I find them create more interesting, complex paintings. So thanks, everybody. I will see you again soon. And until next time, take care. Bye-bye.